Right.
So, hi everyone, welcome once again to another episode of our workshop, monthly workshop. This is the first workshop of the year. So, Happy New Year, everybody. So, my name is Coxie. I'm the leader of Women in DeFi, and with me we have Glory. Glory is going to introduce herself and she's going to tell us why she's here. She's actually here for our workshop. It's topic of monetizing your tech skills through open source and freelancing. So if you are here, a techie, looking for ways to monetize your own tech skills, probably looking for how to freelance or open source opportunities, this is the right place for you. So over to you, Glory.
All right. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. First of all, I am Glory, and first of all, I'm a software developer before any other things. And then, apart from that, I am currently the co-founder for Africa Innovate. So, Africa Innovate is a tech startup that is into training, skill training in terms of tech related skills and co-working space and all of that. So, and more recently, I focused more on blockchain development, protocol development, and all of that. And I also do some technical writing as well. So, without talking too much, for this session, I'm going to be talking about monetizing your tech skills through open source and freelancing. I'm not quite sure how many people are on this space or session right now. So, Kosi, you'll be helping me with that. In the meantime, I have just a little question to ask those of us that are here right now. Which is going to be okay. Before I even move on to the question, so this is just basically what I plan to talk about in this session today. And so my question is, who is currently contributing to open source and who has done freelancing work before? So if you have, I would like to see you drop it in the comment section. Have you previously contributed to an open source, or are you currently freelancing? I would like to know what you guys have been up to.
Okay.
Because how many people are on this session right now? I can't really see from here, except I'm on the
We
public
currently have
YouTube channel. Sorry, I
all
didn't
right,
get
can you
that.
hear me?
Yeah,
We currently have two people here right now. So they're joining
okay.
and dropping off. Hi, Vigo. Hear you.
Okay. Hello, Ojutan, and hello, Gloria. Nice to have you guys here. So, meanwhile, I think I'm just going to continue while other people keep joining. So I've been told we have like an hour or so for this session. So that covers the presentation and any question that you might have along the way. So any questions you have as I proceed, just keep it. Maybe when I'm done, you can drop it in the chat or in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer. All right, so let me move on. So first of all, what is open source? I know some of us probably would have heard of the word open source. Probably this is not even the first time you're hearing open source, or you have even been using open source tools in your workplace or in the things that you do. I always like my session to be interactive, but right now it looks like I am talking blindly. I don't really know the people I'm talking to. So I know we are not much right now at the moment. So for the few persons that are right here in this meeting or in this webinar session, I would love for you to communicate back in the comment section by letting me know what you currently do. So if you don't mind, I would love for you to like maybe just I've seen your name already, so just tell us what you are into. Like, are you a developer or a technical writer? Have you contributed to open source before? Have you done anything in the open source space? I'd love to hear from you guys before I proceed. Yeah, hello. So please, I'm waiting for your feedback. to enable me know the kind of people I'm talking to.
Okay, the question here is that if you're here being a dev or a non-dev, okay, yeah, someone said digital skill trainer. Like if you have
Okay,
any skill and
okay,
if you have
that's fine.
thoughts before, it's
Okay, do we have any developer designer in the house? Anybody used or done anything on the open source space? All right, so we are wasting too much time since the response is not forthcoming quickly. Okay, I've seen Stella, front end developer. All right. So yeah, let me just continue. So basically, open source is kind of like a software that has what we call licensing model around it. So talking about the licensing, I'm going to emphasize a little bit more on that. So it is open source because it is free for the public to use, and then it's can when you because it's free, you also have the ability to be able to like manipulate it if you need to. By manipulating it, it means you can make a copy of it and make it to be the way you want it to be, or just like create your own version of it completely. So that's what open source is in like a simple explanation for that. So, and talking about the licensing, before now, so I think maybe some few years ago, before I used to think once you create a repo and then, so now for developers in the house, you understand in the house, you understand what I mean when I talk about repo. So I'm talking about repository, like GitHub repository. So basically, if you create a repo, you just maybe like make it public. Most people always feel that, oh, because this repository is public, automatically is open source. It is not. So if you have found yourself in such situation where you think so that, oh, because I created a repository and it's public, so it's open source. Yeah, it's public. People can see it, people can see the code, but it is not, that does not really automatically makes it open source in the sense that you have not licensed it, like you have not made use of any of these open source license to license this particular software that you have created and say people can use it as they deem fit based on the type of license you decide to use. You understand? So that's one thing you should take note of. So as I proceed in this presentation, I'm going to be sharing some resources that are going to be very helpful to you in your journey. Maybe when trying to set up an open source project, or when you want to contribute to an open source project, or maybe consulting or anything you want to do within the open source space. You can pretty much learn a lot from that particular open source website. It's very, very useful. Okay, so moving on, what are the prerequisites when it comes to open source contributions? What are the things that you should know before contributing to open source? So most of the time, sometimes we are being lied to most time. Like when there are places you go to and people will be like, you can come the way you are, you can just start contributing just like that. But the truth of the matter is, not to scare you, but I have to be factual in whatever I'm saying. So now, the truth is, contributing to any of these open source is not the easiest thing you can do, but it's a good first step to take. So generally in life, nothing is easy, but if we make up our minds to do it, we are sure to make some progress along the way. So now, talking about the basic skills you need to have like basic technical skills, like talking about technical skills, depending on the area of contributions you want to do. So if you're a designer, technical skills for you will be your ability to be able to design. And if you are a developer, technical skills for you will be your ability to be able to write some code. So you don't really need to be an advanced programmer, but then you need that basic knowledge of programming, because if you want to contribute to open source, you need to have a skill at least for you to be able to contribute. So if you don't have a skill, no matter how small it is, it's very difficult for you to even like make that decision to say you want to contribute to any project or that. Now, soft skill mostly have to do with your ability to communicate, especially in the open source world. Communication is very, very, very important because most of the time you are working with people from different time zone, people that's probably they're ahead of you, and then you're working on a project that is very big, and you're just coming in and you don't even know where to begin. So if you don't know how to communicate, it becomes a very big problem for you. You find yourself getting fed up or distracted, or you feel like, oh, I don't think this is for me. I don't think I can continue doing this, or I can even do this in the first place. And that's where your communication skills come in. So your ability to be able to communicate with other people within the community, like find out more about the project, ask questions. If you're having issues, communicate. So that communication above every other thing is very, very important. And then understanding of open source. So since we are talking about open source, it's very important for you to have at least a basic knowledge of what open source is about. And stepping away from that, most of these open source contributions happen on Git, maybe GitLab or GitHub. So you need to have a GitHub account to start with. So whether you're a designer, because there are some people who be like, oh, I don't think there is open source contribution for designers. So I don't just want to focus on developers so that it doesn't look like I'm being biased here. So if you are a designer, there is also room for you to contribute. Whether you're a digital marketer too, you can contribute in form of putting some content there, like digital content or whatever, depending on the project you are trying to contribute to. And then basic knowledge of Git. So now that you have created a GitHub account, you need to know how to use it, at least to the basic minimum, because at the end of the day, you are going to be doing basic stuff like git init, git add, git commit, git push, merge if necessary, or fetch, all those stuff. So that those are basic commands that you should be aware of. So you just need to have that basic knowledge of Git. All right. Let's move on to the next. So now, how do you find the right open source project to contribute to? If you go to GitHub, there are a lot of projects there. And then there's a section on GitHub, like maybe when you create your account and then that landing page after creating your account, you can just maybe search. You can easily like search from there and search for any projects. Thank you guys for the comments. So you can search on the, I think you can use the explore, and then you can search for whatever you're looking for using the keyword and all of that. Now, so first of all, when talking about finding the right project to contribute to, you need to be able to like assess yourself before even looking for a project. And part of doing that is for you to be able to identify your area of interest and your goals. So I do say this a lot, especially in some of the videos I created before when I was talking about how to get into the outreachy internship program and all of that. So when I get to some of that section of the slide, I'm still going to mention a little bit of that. So first off, you need to identify your area of interest and your goals. Now, what are you interested in? What are you trying to achieve by wanting to contribute to this project? Yeah, so practical example for that I could use here is that personally I decided to contribute to the Ethereum protocol first off because I wanted to learn more about the Ethereum protocol. So that was the goal for me. So that was not like my first open source project that I contributed to, but I that was the goal. So I decided to okay, so this is going to be like the easiest way for me to learn more about this protocol by contributing. So it's not by looking at it from afar or by just saying I wish I can contribute. So the first step for you to do is to take action, and after identifying what your goal is and your area of interest, you just take action and do what you need to do. Yeah, so the next thing again we want to look at is your match your skill level. So if you before you can choose a project, you need to be able to know what's your current skill level is, what can you do. I noticed someone like Kosi, for instance. Now, I think recently she's very much interested in Rust. So I discovered that she kind of like contributes more to projects that make use of Rust and all that. So for me, like the project I was working on the Ethereum protocol was they made use of Java actually. Initially, that was not really my like that was not really what I planned to do though. But it turns out Java was something I had experience with back in the days when I was doing mobile development. So it came in handy, like it was very useful on the protocol level. So you need to know what your skill level is. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not good with Java, I'm not good with Rust, I'm not good with Go. Now, what are you good at? Are you good at JavaScript? There are a lot of open source project that makes use of JavaScript or TypeScript. So we don't end up giving ourselves excuses. There must be something you are good at. So figure out what that thing is and look for a project that makes use of that particular thing that you can easily contribute to. Then use platforms to find projects. So one of those platforms is GitHub itself, and then there are other different sites that we could check to be able to see some of these open source projects, or even for beginners, for people that have not contributed to open source before, that are looking to start contributing. There are a lot of platforms that give you the opportunity to contribute regardless of your open source skill level, and you can start contributing to small projects, good first issues and all that. And then you need to evaluate the project. Now take a very good look at the project you want to contribute to. Is this project something of interest to you? Is this project something you are going to learn something from at the end of the day? So you need to look at the project. And then as part of evaluating the project, is the project active? There are some projects that have been abandoned, and then there's no maintenance for those projects. So you can find yourself in situations where you are contributing to those projects and you're not getting any feedback from the community. Nobody is responding. Maybe you ask question, nobody's responding. It can be discouraging, especially for first timers. So you maybe created an issue or did a PRO and nobody's looking at it, or you go to the community, nobody is saying anything. So those are red flags you should actually look out for. So that's another thing you should look out for when trying to evaluate the project. When was the last time they created issue in that project? When was the last time somebody did a PRO there? How is the communication going on the Git repository and all that? So that should tell you how active that project is or not. And another thing is engage with the community. It's very, very important, especially when dealing with Web3 projects. Most of these Web3 projects, the best and easiest way to get solution to your problem is when you meet them on Discord. So other than that, just very few of them have Stack Overflow, where people have issues and they still go there. For those of us that still use Stack Overflow, because a lot of people now are using ChatGPT and the rest of the AI tools for their question and answers and all. So for the few people that still use Stack Overflow for on the Web3 space is very limited. Not we have very few Web3 organizations or platforms that have their own space within Stack Overflow where you have issues and you can ask questions. So the best place for you is to go to their Discord, find them there, communicate with them. Before you even create an issue, the best process is maybe you find a project you are interested in. So the first thing you need to do is to clone that repository into your machine, try to run it locally and see what the project looks like, and probably test it, use it if you know how to use it. And then in the process of running and testing it, you can even find an issue that you probably want to work on. And there are thousands of issues too in most of these repos, so you don't have to create your own. So there are many issues that they have created before, and they are looking for people to come and work on those things. So you can go to their issues section on the GitHub, on their GitHub repo, and then check for maybe good first issue if you are still new. Good first issue, no matter who you are, good first issue is always like the first place to start, especially when you're just starting to contribute to a project. a particular project. So just look for the good first issue, because that's where you begin to like get familiar with the project and then start getting comfortable or understanding some certain things about the project. So you go check out their issues, check the label that says good first issue, and then pick anyone and start working on it. So, but before you start, read their GitHub, what's it called? The README, like their guide, the contributing guide, so that you get to know what's the process like when trying to contribute to this particular project. Do I need to reach out? Definitely, most of the time, you need to figure out who the maintainer of the project is and then reach out. Let them know if you see an issue you like, let them know I would love to work on this issue. Drop it in the comments of that particular issue. And then I probably will say, I would love for this issue to be assigned to me. So whoever is in charge of maintaining the project can just go through it and then assign it to you. So that's the point where you can now start working on it. So you don't just see an issue and then you just start working on it. You need to ask for permission. And you also don't just see an issue, create it, and then start working on it. You need to also get permission and say, oh, I saw so and so thing. I would love to create this as an issue. And I would also love for this issue to be assigned to me. So that's like one of the ways to get started. Now, what are the platforms you can use to find open source issues? So these are some of the platforms we can look at. First of, like I mentioned earlier, the GitHub search. When you make use of the GitHub search on your GitHub account, you can search for any project of your choice. So there are quite a lot of projects you can search for depending on your area of interest. So let's assume you are interested in Ethereum. Ethereum has a lot of projects. So first off, you probably want to go to the official Ethereum website, check out maybe the different project that they have so that you can have access maybe to the link, to the GitHub link to those projects. And then this Only Dust, I think some people already know it. So it's a platform where you can contribute to open source projects and also get paid. But I think they also have some that you just contribute that you don't get paid for too as well. And then these other links here, the open source guide. So this open source guide platform is a very good platform that helps you to get started contributing to open source, or help you to know how to organize your open source project if you have a project, and then how to manage it or do consulting and all those things that are involved in open source. Then good first issue. So for beginners, people that are just starting, people that have never contributed to open source before. So the good first issues.com, first contributions.github.io, these are good platforms to get started. So I think a good number of these links here are beginner friendly places you can go to start contributing to any project of your choice. So these are not just like Web3 based or limited to Web3, any projects at all, you can find them there. So now, what are the open source internship and fellowship opportunities? So basically, we have quite a number of them. We have Gitcoin Kernel Fellowship. So some of these fellowship I've been part of before. I think almost all of them. So yeah, the Kernel Fellowship program helps you to learn more about Web3, the Web3, or the whole Web3 economy, and so many things. So in this fellowship, you get to meet with different people, designers, founders, developers, what have you. Anybody within the space, you meet them there. Nethermind internship. So this is should I say protocol level based kind of internship where you need to know some things. I think they mostly focus on the Ethereum protocol. So and then so Nethermind is like an Ethereum client actually. They have this Nethermind. Is it Nethermind? Yeah. Abi? Yes, something like that. So it's a client, they provide client service to Ethereum protocol. So and they also run their own internship program as well. And we have the Ethereum Software and Research Fellowship and internship as well. So I think they just like started this internship program within the Ethereum Foundation, and same thing goes for the research. And they also have the protocol fellowship, which I participated in last year. Okay, and so for outreachy, yeah, so this last one in this box, these are for what's it called? Like these are Web2 internship programs. So these first boxes here, they are Web3 based internship and fellowship programs. And then this other last one here, this is Web2. So I just decided to add it for other people that might be interested in this. So these three I've also participated in them for, no, not the three. I didn't participate in Season of Code. Yeah, so the Outreachy and the Season of Dog, I've done them before. So these are internship programs on the Web2 space. So Outreachy, some of you already know Outreachy. If you don't know about Outreachy, go check out my video on that. I don't want to spend so much time talking about it, but they run internship program like I think twice in a year, and they pay $7,000 for the 3 months internship. And then Season of Doc is a Google run internship program too for technical writers, people that write technical documentation. And then the Google Season of Code is also run by Google for coders, people that write code. So you get to look for any of the projects of your choice that you want to contribute to, and then you apply and you start contributing. Yeah, so talking about open source monetization, how do you monetize your open source contributions, your open source keys, and all of that? So because it's open source, and from what I've explained so far, there are some of these contributions you do that are completely free, mostly just for the purpose of learning. There are some that you actually get paid for, like those outreachy, season of doc, season of code. Those are paid internship program, and some of the other Web3 internship program I mentioned. I think all of them, they are all paid programs, apart from the Kanye Fellowship. Yeah. So now, if you happen to get into any of those internship or any of those fellowship, you can get paid. But if you happen not to be there, maybe you're just contributing. It's possible you're just contributing. You're not really getting paid directly. So, but that nonetheless, you are learning something in the process. You're gaining knowledge. You're gaining skills. You're building your portfolio. You can confidently say, I've worked with so and so project by virtue of your contribution to that project, even if you are not paid directly. So those are some of the things you get. And there are some people that create open source projects, and you see them adding this open collective or buy me a coffee and all those stuff. People get to like donate some fund to them. So that's like getting paid indirectly too, or directly, could say directly that way. Or yeah, maybe indirectly or directly, but they're getting paid one way or the other. So and consulting. So based on your knowledge of open source, you could be doing consulting services for people, like helping people get into the open source space or helping them manage their open source projects and all of that. So those are some things you benefit from contributing to open source. The same thing goes for the skills or the knowledge you gain from your open source contributions. Now, what is freelancing? So, in a way, your work as a open source contributor is almost similar to freelancing in the sense that as a one thing I love about open source, most of the time you're just doing your own thing. Like you contribute when you want to contribute. So nobody is like pressuring you and say, except you're into the internship programs. And some of the internship programs to no much pressure. So although some of them they want you to be fully involved in the program as though you are doing a full-time job. So that's like the likes of Outreachy or the Ethereum Protocol Fellowship and some of the other fellowships. So, but majority of the time, if you're not in any of those fellowships, you're just contributing to the open source projects. You're just like working at your will or doing your own thing without too much pressure, like when you're in a full-time engagement. And you can be contributing to multiple projects at the same time, depending on your skill level and your capabilities and all of that. So talking about freelancing. So freelancing is a type of self-employment in the sense that you are not employed directly by any employer, and you are kind of like independent contractor. You have the ability to work for multiple clients, work on maybe based on project based or depending on the kind of clients you have and all of that. So you are not committed to a single employer. So like I said, you can be working for different people or different clients at the same time. So that's one of the beautiful things about freelancing. Now, how do freelancers find work? So majority of us that have tried freelancing before, probably we already know Upwork, Fiverr, Top Total, Guru, maybe through your personal portfolio website or referral programs, social media platforms, e.g. Twitter, LinkedIn. Now I'm going to talk a bit more about this. And then Web3 platforms, these are some of the platforms you can actually like get some freelancing work from. And I added this hackathon platform because I kind of like see participating in hackathon like as almost closely as freelancing, because I know a lot of people that are very, very active when it comes to participating in hackathons, and hackathons for them is almost like their full-time job. So they don't even bother looking for a job because every now and then they are involved in one or two of these hackathons, and at the end of the day, they get something out of it. Sometimes you get something out of it, maybe when your team wins. And if your team doesn't win, you learn something in the process as well. So it's not the time you win, but definitely it's a win-win situation because you're always learning something. So that's one thing I love about hackathon. And then talking about the getting job via social media platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, and all that. Yeah, recently I paid for. There was one advert that was just running on YouTube when I was doing something. I don't know. So the guy is such a good marketer, I must say. So it was just like I had to get clients and earn big dollars and all that. I was like, okay, let me hear what this guy has to say. If it's something I've not already known before, and nobody's tired of making more dollars after all. So the fee was 5K, just 5,000 naira. So I decided to pay and say, let me enter class and go and hear what you have to say. So the 2 days program. And yeah, I learned a little bit. So which is what I'm still going to share with you in this session. So yeah, talking about how to get some clients as a freelancer. So most of us already know these traditional platforms. And then there was something he said that we probably have not been making good use of, which is use other social media platforms. So now, for instance, on YouTube, somebody can create a content on YouTube, and then maybe the content is can't come up with anything right now. So, but basically, somebody created content trying to solve a problem on YouTube, and then a lot of people are commenting on under that video and be like, "Oh, I'm also experiencing this problem. I also have this problem." So this type of situation does not really only apply to YouTube. It also applies to other platforms, other social media platforms. Like maybe somebody will just come up with their problem. You know, people are always sharing their problems online. So you can capitalize as a good marketer that you are. You can capitalize on those platforms or on people's problem. And then maybe you're in a platform where somebody's saying, I have um I'm starting a business and then I'm having problem getting my sites the way it should be, or the design is not okay, blah blah blah. So when you are in those platforms or when you see those comments, it's an opportunity for you to reach out directly to those businesses. You could even search for businesses on Twitter or on TikTok and then check out their profile. From maybe if you are targeting businesses in Europe, you could search for businesses in Europe using any of those social media platforms. And then you can, maybe you are looking for small businesses, depending on the kind of business you are looking for, because most of these businesses abroad, they they are actually like, especially those that are just starting, they are looking for kind of like cheap labor. So now what we call cheap labor, maybe like $1,000 or even $2,000. For people abroad, that might be big money, but for people in Nigeria, sorry, that might be small money. But for people in Nigeria, that might be big money.
Sorry, can you guys hear me? I think I can't hear Glory anymore. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, you can.
You can hear me. Okay, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Kosi, I
Thank you.
can hear
You're
you.
back.
Okay, all right. Okay, so no problem. So yeah, so what I was saying is you could search for your clients from any of those platforms. Yeah. So you could search for your clients from any of those platforms, maybe using Twitter, LinkedIn, check their comments, engage with the comments, or even like follow the people from their comments to go to their profile and check what services they are rendering and probably what challenge they are having and how you can help them. And so, like what the guy said in that session, yeah, one of the mistakes that most of us make as freelancers is the fact that we tend to sell ourselves short. Like you tend to, your proposer is almost like you're begging for the job. So when you are submitting proposal, you shouldn't be submitting proposal with like, please, I can do this, blah blah blah. So there's a way you package yourself. There's a way you explain yourself. Like you can even like offer free service and say, oh, I saw so and so. Maybe you're a writer. I saw so and so blog. I made these corrections on this blog. You can check it out. If you like it, let me know. Blah blah blah. You can just offer some services and then let them decide for themselves whether or not they still want to deal with you and all of that. Those I'm actually talking about international clients. So yeah. So those are some of the things you can do when making use of this social media platform. So these platforms are not just for just sharing posts, random posts. So if you're a freelancer, you can capitalize on this platform and look for your next clients from this platform. Now, why this is effective is because most people are not tailoring their client search in this direction. People are mostly focused on all these type of platforms that have been designed to take care of that. So if you maybe change your strategy, you can probably start seeing results. So you could, like I said, you could search for any of these organizations, maybe on LinkedIn, you could search for startups or Europe-based organization. You could reach out to the founders directly and all of that. And redefine how you send your code mail or what your code mail contents look like so that we go a long way in helping you get your next client. All right, so talking about still on the freelancing thing, talking about pricing strategies, client management. So in freelancing, sometimes you are being paid hourly per hour or project based. And sometimes it all depends on you too as the freelancer. You can decide to and based on your negotiation with the clients, you can decide to say, I want to be paid hourly or I want to be paid when this job is completed. Or and then you need to do your market research to be sure that you are charging the right charge for that or price for that particular service that you are rendering. Because I discovered that some people charge very low. Why? And they'll be surprised when they find out what other people in their space or that are doing similar stuff are charging. That's because they did not do their own research very. That the same thing applies when people apply for jobs and then you are being asked, how much do you want us to pay you? And then you don't know what to say. Or you say something very small. It's almost like you selling yourself very short. So you need to do some research around it because sometimes there is how low a price you will tell somebody, and the person will start, and the person will no longer believe in you, like whether or not you can actually deliver that stuff because you have sold yourself very short. So you need to do some good research around that. And then um, part of getting these clients is writing a very good proposal, not a proposal that shows that you are begging for the job, or proposal that shows that you're a professional at this. You have some good experience. You have been doing this. You have things to show and all of that. And your communication, how you communicate with them, how you follow up, all those things also matter. And then when you have these clients, try as much as possible to be able to build a long-term relationship with them in such a because It's not easy getting new clients every now and then. So the ones you have gotten, your relationship with them will determine whether or not they are going to refer another person to you, or whether or not they will continue doing business with you. So these things are very, very important. Yeah, I think that's all for this slide. So if you have any question at this point in time, yeah, very free to start dropping your questions. I can see that I've used 40 minutes already. So I think I still have 20 minutes left if we are sticking to 1 hour. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me. So, Kosi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Yeah, thank you so much. We really enjoyed the session. It was like so good. I enjoyed it. But I would love to ask you a question. Permit me to ask a question though. So
Yeah, yeah, free.
as a developer or blog, so how much do you charge like hourly, tens of dollars?
Well, basically what I normally do is I won't say I have like a fixed charge, but before I charge anybody,
Okay.
I look at the clients, because the way I charge a Nigerian clients is different from the way I charge somebody abroad, even for the same job,
Mhm.
because I know my Nigerian people.
Okay.
So there's a way you charge them and they'll be like, yeah, and they'll be like, is this
Don't run
for the
away.
full year or something? So I won't say I have a fixed charge. And then even for the international clients, just like I said, depending on the person in question, the clients, what they are doing, from looking at them, you will know if whatever you want to charge, if it's something that they are going to afford or they will be able to afford. Because there's a way you charge somebody and then they will never price, it will just run. And then there's a way you charge to it will be like yeah, it's be like you are selling yourself short, like you don't know your worth or something like that. So I think that's the way I can answer that. And also, it also depends on your skill set, because what you know will also determine your confidence in charging. So if you are not, because if somebody is just starting their career today, even if I tell you, let's say I'm charging $100 per hour, for instance, and not everybody will have that confidence to charge that same $100 per hour, because skill difference, skill gap, and all of that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, what about for those who are just starting out, for example, like maybe or have the junior devs just starting out and they came across a certain job and maybe they looked online and they found out that okay, this job on a normal day people charge like $30 for this job. Do you advise them to charge that same $30? Or do you think they should just okay, since I'm just a junior dev, let me just stick to like $10 or $5 or something? What do you
Yeah,
think they should
so
do
it's
at
still,
that
still,
point in
still
time?
related to the first question you asked. So it depends. So if you as a junior dev, now it's you that know that you're a junior dev actually, eh, based on what you know you can do. Or maybe when you now start comparing yourself with maybe the things you can do, and you try to compare yourself with a senior developer out there, that's when you can really like classify yourself as a junior dev. So like me, I used to say this, it's very funny. I'm like, forget about all this title. I'm not really about title. So far you are ready to pay me well. Even if you want to call me an intern, no problem. Pay me very well. So and that happens a lot. Internationally, most of the time, what interns get paid abroad is even far more than what we call senior developers here in Nigeria. So it's not really
Exactly.
about the title. It's not really about the title.
It's
So you just need to know what you can do. You need to know your worth. And if you are confident about that, if you see somebody that is charging $30 and you know that you can also deliver what that person is delivering, why not? You can also put that, even if you just started yesterday. So as long as you can get the job done.
nice. Okay. Also, guys, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to drop your questions so that Gloria can answer them. But there's one question that I would really love to ask. You know, as an open source contributor, there are some times whereby you see like a tax that you know that you can do. You are not really familiar with that tax. Do you think it's best that the developer or designer, whatever it is, like handle that tax, or do you think it's best to just run away from it and go look for something you know that okay, yeah, I think I know this one, I can handle this one? Or do you think they should just learn why trying to handle that syntax? What's your suggestion?
Okay, so it depends on the complexity of the project. I remember asking my mentors at Teku recently. I was like, I think I want to work on this project. It's one of like the new research areas in Ethereum. I think something on EPBS, enshrining builder separations and all that, proposal builder separation. So, and it's not something I've really done like serious research on, and it looks like something that I will have to like start working on from scratch, and nobody is already doing that within the community. So that's going to be like a lot of work. And then when I'm having issue, I probably will not even know who to ask within that community because nobody's doing that. And me, I'm also new. So the best answer he gave me was for me to do something that will not get me stuck and I don't give up along the way. You understand? So because there's a project you will
Yeah.
pick and then you find yourself being stuck. And it's a very bad thing to be
I
stuck.
swear.
Like you are just there for a very long time. You're not making any progress. You are not moving. While there are many other things you could have been doing or you could have achieved some progress with. But because you want to force yourself to do this particular thing, and then you're not making so much progress. At the end of the day, you're not even going to be happy with yourself, even though the your
Exactly.
goal is to learn from it. So it also depends on the complexity of the project. Me, personally, I like to give myself like challenge myself a lot. So, but you also need to understand yourself. If you're that type of person that is ready and up for the challenge, yeah, you can give it a shot, and then you also know when to say I don't think I can continue with this. You cannot come and kill yourself in the project.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there was a time when yeah, that time when I was assigned to that Java issue, I ran away because I don't know Java. God, I had to run away from my life. But see myself contributing to Rust projects as I enjoy doing that because I know that okay, I'm actually growing my skills like why I contribute to this project. So I feel like if you as an open source contributor, you feel like okay, I want to learn Java or I want to learn JavaScript, I want to learn Solidity, contribute to open source project that is mainly on Solidity. You'll be a way for you to like straighten your hands on Solidity. But if you don't have any like plans of learning it, like I won't really advise you to do that because you're just going to be stuck, and then you feel like you start blaming yourself and thinking that okay, I'm not capable enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. But that's not the truth. You just went to do something that you couldn't do at all. So that's just my advice to everybody here. I don't know if you guys have any questions or you guys are okay with Glory's session. If you have anything to say, even just say thank you. Just type thank you, Glory. I enjoyed your session. Anything you want to type, just say it. You can see that a lot of people are having network issues, but no problem. This session is recorded. You can always watch it again. So
Yeah.
anybody,
So
actually say thank you
yeah, I
for
want to
those
say
of us.
something. Thank you, Justin, for your contribution. Yeah, indeed. Open source contribution is not just about coding. I've said that before. Designers can contribute to open source, digital marketer, wherever you are within the tech space, you can contribute to open source. And then if you are none of the above, you can, if you have money, you can contribute to open source with your money, donate to people, to projects and individuals that are building open source projects. So that's another way of you contributing to open source. I remember recently, Outreach, they were doing this campaign. I think most of these open source projects, they normally run campaigns like Python, yeah, Python Foundation, Outreach. They were running different campaigns to raise funds and all of that. And there are people within the community that use these softwares within their own establishments that are contributing greatly to these projects financially. So if you don't write code, you don't design, you don't do any of those, but you have money, you can contribute to those projects that are building those open source projects.
There's something I saw recently where I was contributing to like one open source project online. um if yesterday a dev, one of my dev, she came to me, she was like, "Hey, ma, how can I contribute this, that?" So okay, no problem, go and look for issues and you see issues. Surprisingly, I've not seen that before. She saw one open source issue on the design. The people actually wanted someone to design that thing for them, like designers, but there was nobody to do that. Like on a normal day, like issues like that, you'd have seen something like maybe 10 people sending requests, but nobody was sending requests. So immediately I saw that opportunity, I was like, please bring it to me. I took the opportunity. I said, "Ah, I know somebody in this my community that's a designer. Please come and contribute to this place." Immediately she got it and she was so happy. Like she was like, wow, thank you so much. First time contributing to open source. So like I really do I agree with Glory saying that open source is not just for dev. Designers can contribute, technical writers can contribute, anybody can contribute, and can also make money in this space as well. But someone asked me a question, Glory.
Okay, yeah. So I
She
think
said,
for someone who wants to navigate into the tech newly, what's your advice for such person? So my advice would be you do some research on your own, because I see a lot of people these days that based on the fact that I run a training center, a lot of people call and they'll be like, "Oh, I want to learn blah blah blah." And these days I hear a lot of calls. People are like, "Oh, I want to do digital. Sorry, I want to do data analysis." And I think data analysis and cybersecurity are top on the list these days that people are reaching out for. And the one of the reasons is that I feel like people just like to follow the crowd. They just feel like, oh, I know this person is learning data analysis. I also want to learn data analysis. Or these days, people are not really like want to get into tech because they love tech or because they really want to solve problem, but because they've heard that there's money in tech. That's why a lot of people are running into tech these days.
yeah,
And the first question that they will ask you is, which of these courses can I do that I will start making money immediately? Those are some of the questions I guess
exactly.
recently. So for people for success, I hope your case is different. That you really want to learn genuinely and you're not trying to get into the tech space because you hear that there's a lot of money in tech. And then you've also heard that tech is the next oil. So yeah, so, but basically, what you should do is to do some research, like do your research, find out what you love. Because personally, what brought me into tech was the simple reason that I want to solve problem. I like how I see mobile applications and how I don't really know how those things are being developed, but I like the idea that somebody built it, it's solving a problem. I also want to solve a problem, and that was what brought me into tech. And I started the whole journey of building mobile applications. So that was the motivation, because if you don't have a motivation for getting into something, you can easily give up along the way when you are hit with roadblock. Because there's no aspect of tech that is actually very simple. Even if you are not writing code, it's for you to gain good success in any of these tech space or in any of these areas in tech. You need to be committed to it. You need to have that some a good level of commitment and consistency, which is something that a lot of people lack. So, and you need to be passionate about it. Anyone, even though we know that we like the money, we need the money in the tech space, but we're also passionate about it. That's why we can stay up
Yeah.
at night when other people are sleeping and we're still looking at our screen trying to fix one code or solve one problem or the other. So you have to ask yourself if you are ready for that, if you are that type of person. And then there are different areas because a lot of people are scared of coding for reasons that I don't really know. So you have to go search. If you are one of those people that is scared of coding, you probably want to check out for courses that does not involve coding. And we have a good number of them like UI UX design, product management, and many others. So you could check out for those. So that would be my advice for you. I hope that answers the question. So the next question is, please, do you have any idea the rates range a beginner technical writer could charge for freelancing projects? So yeah, that reminds me. I also have a video on where I talk about some of the monies I made as a technical writer, as a freelance technical writer, contributing to Agorand as a technical writer and Cello blockchain. So I don't know if I've published it yet, but if you need it, also let me know. I can share that with Kosi. So for a beginner writer, the range, I think you can get an idea for the range based on what some of these other technical writing platforms, there are some platforms where you see the prices for each of the that they pay their technical writers. So these platforms are mostly freelancing. And then if you get access to them, you probably be writing maybe 1 or 2 articles for them per month, while you also have the ability to write for as many other platforms at the same time. So depending on the kind of writings you do and how technical or what kind of content you'll be writing, so that will also determine how much you can really charge. But I think as low as $50, as high as $1,000, 750, 500, $1,000 you can see per article, depending on the organization. If you are writing for an organization, depending on the organization that you are writing for. So I also have a video on that too. Yeah, I list that all most of the technical writing platforms and the prices. Yeah, the different prices that they pay their technical writers as well. So you might want to check that out.
All right. So, do you guys have any other questions? Again, you can kindly drop them. We have just 4 minutes left before we end today's session. Anybody? Okay. I think that's all from me, guys. Well, if you don't have any questions, you can just say thank you. But Glory, do you have any final words? Just final
Okay, yeah.
words from
So
any for
for
them.
final word, what I would say is the year is still very fresh, and then anything you are planning to do, I think you should have left the planning stage and start getting to the execution stage. So I think we're just I think January is just ending. So I don't know whether you wrote down your plans in any notes or paper or anything, but then wherever you put it, be checking it and then ensure that you are following it up. So now open
Yeah.
source gives you a lot of opportunities, a lot of opportunities, a lot of time you a lot of time we probably would have heard of how difficult it is these days to get a job within the tech space. And at the same time, it's also much easier for you to get that job you are looking for based on your maybe based on your past
Contribute.
contributions and all that, and then referrals and all of that. A lot of things I apply for these days, and based on the previous contributions I've made, is a lot easier for me compared to people that have not done what I've done before in the past. So now is the time to start contributing. Don't say I'm not a pro, because that's the problem most of us have most of the time. I'll be like, oh, I need to be a pro for me to contribute to open source. That open source contribution is for people that already know what they are doing, that are pro programmers and all. Even if you're a beginner, as long as you start writing HTML, CSS, or even JavaScript and all, you should be able to find a project that make use of those three things. So and that's why you need to check. I will share this slide with Kosi to share with the community. That's why you need to check out those good first issues, those platforms where you can start building up your skill as an open source contributor. And for those of us that will be looking to maybe apply to paid internship programs like Outreachy, I always tell people now is the time to start practicing how to contribute to open source, because it's very competitive out there. A lot of people are applying, people that probably already know how to contribute to open source, and maybe you are just starting out. So the easiest way for you to gain an edge or gain that edge over that competition is for you to start contributing now. Don't wait, see the application is up and then they want to start the application process before you start contributing. Start contributing now. Now is the time for you to start contributing. Now is the time for you to gain that skill and anything you need to know. And for freelancers, just don't give up. Keep submitting the best proposals that you can submit. Explore those other platforms I mentioned. And at the end of the day, we shall be hearing some good news. Yeah, so that's
Amen.
all I can say right now. So thank you guys once again.
Okay. Thank you, Chloe. One more like final words for me is that in all you do, please remember to build in public, and open source is a way to just build your portfolio. If you're just starting out, for example, now you contribute to open source or freelancing platforms who help you to build your portfolio. So like when you get to a certain stage whereby you don't really need all this open source stuff anymore, you already have that portfolio to start applying for bigger and greater jobs. So I really do would love to see you guys out there at the top. So I hope and pray that you take this seriously and don't forget about it. So we're having our next workshop next month, and same time, no, same time here, and last Wednesday of next month. So I hope to see you guys next month as well. And for those asking for the videos, you can always check YouTube, Women Defi's live YouTube channel. Just check it there. You see the recorded video. And for those asking for the slide, just send me a DM on WhatsApp. If you have me on WhatsApp, you can send me a DM on WhatsApp. If you have me on WhatsApp, send me a DM on Twitter. Anyway, just send me a DM. Or you can find me. Send me a DM. Then also for those asking about the community, yeah, women in different have a community. If you're a lady, of course you're a lady, you can sign up for our community to join our community, and you can be part of our Discord channel and other channels we have as well. And if you are here, you don't have any knowledge about blockchain technology, or anything about blockchain, we currently have a training that's coming up next month, which is what's the cutoff? We which train coming up next month. So it's a way for you to just like a 1 month training, and you get to teach you on how to just about the blockchain, nothing technical though, just about the blockchain, Web3, the crypto space, everything you need to know. That's how I started that when I started in crypto. So just sign up for that training and you get to learn about it. And when you're done with that training, you'll be able to pick a skill that you feel like, okay, this is where I want to be. If you want to be in the development aspect, you can pick that. Pick that. If you want to be in the research aspect, you can just go for that. Anything you want to be, you can just do that after the training. So thank you so much, Glory, for being here. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate the fact that you said yes when I went to your DM. Thank you so much for contributing to Women in DeFi and making this place a better place for the ladies out there. So
Yeah,
final
thank you. So,
words.
so a quick
Bye.
one for
Next.
sorry, before we go. Yeah, a quick one for Kimila. Some of the videos I mentioned, you can find them on my YouTube channel at Agatevre Glory. Unfortunately, I don't know why I can't really type here, but you see this handle that is showing on my Twitter handle. That's the same handle I'm using on YouTube. So you can search for me on YouTube using that and do at Agatha Glory, so you can see most of the videos that I mentioned. Yeah, thank you very much. And I think this will be bye for now.
All right, guys. Bye. See you guys next month, same time. Bye.
Bye bye.